You always just got to act your best at defending. I think like.
People, deluded. I'm back again. We got Southern Gooner, aka Matty, in the building. Big him up because it's like 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, America, my boy. Appreciate that. I think you're muted, you know.
7 in the morning, my brother.
See what I'm saying? I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. We picked a good day, man. I know we've been trying to get this done for a while, man. We've got a lot to discuss. Where do you want to start, man? We could discuss Berta. We can go over Gyökeres.
That's coming off the back of me and Aaron. Aaron talks football. We was up late last night. We was up late last night, man. So I think we went to bed. It was 10 o'clock my time. Well, it was 10:30 my time last night. And it was whatever time it was. So that's what 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. So it's like 3, 4 in the morning over there for him. And he's up this morning and then I'm up this morning. So yeah, we putting in that work today, man.
Putting in the work, man. Putting in the hours, man. Like I said, I appreciate it, man. Again, as Inner Circle said, welcome the guests. Hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribing to Matt's channel. Send the title. Don't be lazy. It's free and it supports the guys. But like I was saying, bro, we picked a good time. You know, it's Monday. There's a lot to discuss. We got Fulham. Saka's apparently in the squad. I know you've got
ready to go. Ready to
go.
Yeah,
this is what I said. I know you're ready to go and you've got a lot of thoughts, man. So you know what? Let's start with Berta, man. Let's start with Berta. It's been officially confirmed now, something we've known. It's on Arsenal.com. We all know about his 12 years at Atletico Madrid. What do you make of the appointment?
Did you well, there's a few things here, and I brought this up to Guns yesterday. Guns reached
him up
this morning when he dropped it when it was dropped in the chat. I said, hey, do you notice anything about this? And he was like, well, what? You know, I said, look, there's no Arteta anywhere to be seen.
In the picture.
Nowhere.
That's what you call it.
Yep. That picture is not at London Colney. We know that. Look at the background. This was done a while back. And if I had
even touching the paper.
You know, yeah, exactly. The more I think about this and look at this after breaking it down, this was done probably when Josh came over. Remember he came over.
It was that period. He was at the training ground and all of that. I think off the back of January, maybe last week in January, February.
Facts. And they said, well, he came, but he didn't. Everybody thought he was coming in for transfer. He was coming in to get this done. This has been done for a while. They just wanted to get everything sorted out. And as the club does, they always pick the most weird times to drop stuff like this, because I told the guys last night, we were all on Lee's channel. I told the guys, I said, when is Arsenal drop news on a Sunday? It's always usually about this time, as we saw a few minutes ago. For anybody just, you know, it's been up for a while, either coming home from work or going to lunch. You just saw it just dropped about an hour ago. And then normally it's on a Friday when they want to, you know, going into the weekend or whatever. And so, you know, and it's no ironic they dropped the other news this morning.
Yeah.
So this is why I said they knew what they were doing, but there was something else that was extremely important. Could you by chance go to Arsenal.com and pull up the quotes? I want you to see something. Now, if anybody catch this, scroll down, and I'll show you, because I want you to read it. Just like let me blow up my screen here.
Let me remove the
comment. Go to where it says right go down a little bit more. Go a little bit. Co-share. Read that right there. Co-share.
As you wish, man. Anyone who knows football knows Andrea is an impressive figure. He has a vast knowledge of the game, a great track record, a strong network, and an insatiable desire to build winning teams. Andrea will be a great addition to our club. He understands our values and what we stand for, and we have no doubt he'll help push us on and take the next steps in our bid to win major trophies.
Stop right there.
Go on.
Stop right there. Now,
I like where this is going.
Me and you talked about this probably 3 shows ago. What did he just say there? I brought this up last night. I said, when have you ever heard Josh Kroenke come out and say anything about winning trophies? That's the first time that I can think on record that he
probably maybe last May at a push.
Yeah, but he said our next steps in a bid to win not just regular trophies, major trophies.
Do you think he means that though? Or is it buzzwords?
I think this is a case of I think what has happened here. This brother has come in. He's gonna come in. It's gonna be just like that new teacher. You know, when a teacher comes to the school, he usually puts a year in the hole, just kind of, you know, we're gonna just look, see how everything goes, watch the students, weed out the bad ones, you know.
Be a fly on the wall kind of
Be a
thing.
fly on the wall, exactly. Word for word, what I was thinking. And what's gonna happen here is he's gonna sit back and watch a lot of stuff. He's watching this morning. Believe it or not.
Well, he was at the press conference
this morning, you know, and so he's gonna sit back and watch. I've told everybody, and I'm gonna say it all because I'm gonna be on with the guys later on. I'm saying the same thing I'm gonna say later on. Is I don't expect this summer to be a blockbuster window. I expect it to be more of an efficient window. Get what we need.
Expand on that for those that don't know what you're alluding to.
I think people think we're going to be dropping 200-300 million, bringing in this world-class player, over here coming, a world-class player. No. Because he's got to go. He's got to clean up. We're essentially got to go. Deluded. We've got to go right back where we were when everybody was on their hands about, oh, we clean up the wage bill. Well,
and I'm so happy you said that because
right
my guy was going to discuss this.
Right on cue. Ladies and gentlemen, we didn't even prepare for this morning.
We didn't prepare for this.
We didn't prepare for this. Look at this right here. When you look at these numbers,
it's madness.
It is a horror show. And
look what guy's on. Look at Jesus.
You know what I told Aaron last night? I said, me and Aaron was talking. I said, Aaron, could you look at what we're paying Jesus? And I said, has he played over 50 games for the club? 60 games, 70 games for the club?
Unfortunately, he's been in the medical room a lot.
265,000. You know, then you look at Tomiyasu down there. Then you look at Zinchenko. Look at
150 grand a week.
Yeah. And I'm talking they're going from like 20 grand where they're coming from to 150, 110.
And the wages are one thing, but if you're not doing the job, then we need to have serious questions. And you're right, because when Arteta and Edu came in, everyone was saying we need to clear ranks. You know as well as me, we had to rip up contracts, do all of that. And it felt like at a point, we have kind of got that new beginning kind of thing. But then we've shot ourselves in the foot for reasons you're alluding to with numerous players on inflated wages. Now, as we know, on paper, Jorginho, Tierney and Partey are gone. And obviously you could say Neto and Sterling, but there's a lot of question marks. Me and you both know Jesus ain't going anywhere for at least a year. And at least you can't sell a broken player. Tomiyasu the same. And then you got the big three in, you know, Saka, Saliba and Martinelli's, well, Gabriel Magalhaes, but you could add Martinelli. We need to renew new contracts. Like, it's a madness, bro. We got to do a lot, you know. It's probably going to be like last summer.
And people better go ahead and get it ready because there are going to be some players leaving. They're going to be some, and it might be one or two big ones. Don't be surprised. Because
who do you think?
If I had to guess, you know, last night, man, because that came up last night off air. That came up off air, and they said, "Well, what do you make of Magalhaes?" I said, "Bro, if they come in with 100 million,
our club's doing that.
That's got to get done." Well, why are you doing that? Why would you do that? I said, he's 27. I said, he's looking for a payday. At this stage,
rightly so,
he's looking for a payday. Yeah, especially, you know, he's going into his 30s, so he's got to get a payday. And if I go to Saudi, at least I know I'll be in for something somewhere over there. So he's looking at it from that aspect. We need to be looking at it from the aspect of, hey, man, he's been here for what, 3, 4 years, 5 years? What 3? And 20.
Yeah, Magalhaes like 5 years. He's been here since the start, really.
Okay, since the start.
Something like that. Like, I think he came in when Arteta come in, if I remember correctly. Or like,
I would love to keep him. But you getting 100 million up front for that? Hey, man, you can move some players around and you can start wheeling and dealing.
But you trust us to do that, though?
Hey, now you've got somebody that can wheel and deal.
True.
That's the thing. We've got somebody that I feel real comfortable about wheeling and dealing now. You know,
he's got a proven track record.
Yeah, he's got a proven track record. You know, that was the other thing that Kroenke alluded to in that. He said vast knowledge of the game, experience, and has a network. Now, when have you heard him say anything about a network? See, what happened? What happened here
Eddie put these guys on big wages as well, but go ahead.
Watch this. What has happened here is they've seen the light somewhere. And people are saying, well, what makes you think that? This year we were supposed to be competing off the back of last season. It's a known fact. The manager came out and said, don't settle for it, all that. So the attention was drawn to the season. This is what I say happened this summer. This is exactly what I think happened this summer. They all probably met over here during the tour. I'm pretty sure they probably stayed out at the Cronky's house when they was in LA.
Probably.
Or either one of the ranch houses or something like that. And they all sat around, they talked. Josh probably said, hey man, you've done a pretty good job here, man, the last couple of years. We finished second twice, we're competing. You know, hey man, I can't see any reason why we couldn't go ahead and get you, bring you on back. You know, we'll go ahead and re-up. What you think you need for the year? Well, we know we need a striker. Yeah, I think we need a striker. So all right, well, I'll tell you what, we'll give you 125, 150 million. You know, go ahead and get what you need, man, and let's see what we do.
And we didn't spend the budget correctly.
He goes out, buys Calafiore, Mourinho. Then we get to December, Saka go down. Odegaard was the warning sign. And then you look up, we still ain't got a striker. So January comes around.
Facts.
Hey, Josh. Hey, my friend. Let's see what we can do in the January transfer window.
And he said, what do you mean? I gave you money in the summer. You should have made that happen. I don't want to hear none of that. And I think you're right in the sense of, I think we've got into a stage where Edu and Arteta, they were doing their thing. They kind of got stuck in a rut where you're buying players, which at the time, Jesus Zinchenko, fair enough, but you're putting them on big wages. Like you could look at Edu and say 65 million for Kai Havertz, only 5 million less than what they spent, plus big wages. And me and you both know, Matt, indirectly, this is going to kind of cripple our ability to bring in certain players and renew deals and kind of things of that ilk. But I want to ask you though, like, are we putting too much faith in Berta? Because I think his experience speaks for itself. I like the fact that he's not emotionally attached to Arsenal Football Club. He's just cold-hearted about business. But at the end of the day, he is employed by KSE. Now, I don't think you can just blame KSE as to why we're 13, 14, 15 points off the league this year and how it happened the last 2 years. So you can clearly succeed regardless of what you think about the Cronkies. But are we living in a fantasy? Like, are we expecting too much of Berta? Because as you know yourself, one man can't change the trajectory of our club.
I think, for me, there's some other parts, and Lee brought this up yesterday. Tim Lewis.
You see what I'm saying? Them kind of men are still here.
Yeah. And so we know him and Arteta kind of, they don't see eye to eye. What we think has happened, Tim, we're going to need you and Berta to be the fall men for when we get ready to sack this manager. We're going to give him another year. We're going to see how he's going to do. And we're going to make the move. We're going to see how it works out, checks out next year. We're going to give him, he's probably going to get one or two of his main signings. Don't be surprised. Look, put this out here for everybody. Don't be surprised if Sesko come in. I hear everybody talking about. We'll come to him in a little bit, but don't be surprised.
Save your Sesko and Xhaka for us, man.
Yeah. Don't be surprised. And so if he could get, just because just get a striker, everybody comes back healthy next year, then guess what's going to be expected next year? No excuses.
Trophies.
Yeah, it's trophies, because there's going to be no excuses, because you got a full squad, full complement of players. All of your players that you bought, all the players that you wanted, everything is there.
Been there for a while now as well.
Yep. And so now you're on year 6, and so they're going to sit back and watch. I know people are kind of skeptical about this, but I can tell you this. I keep telling people, anybody that's American knows what I'm about to say. American owners, when they make these kind of moves, especially if anybody that watches the NFL, if they bring in the general manager when a coach is there, within a year or two, if that coach is not performing, he's out of there. This is exactly what they do in the NFL. They brought in the sporting director. You just alluded to it. He has no tie, absolutely no ties to Arsenal outside of the Cronkies brought him in.
Cold-hearted about business, man.
Yeah, cold-hearted. 12. He's over there with Sporting, with Atletico for all those years with Simeone. They have a time. If you ever get a chance, go and look at the Sport, how they ran there. I think I showed this to you offline.
You did last time.
run their operation over there. Everything is nice, neat, and tight. You don't have all this overlap in the jobs. You don't have a whole bunch of people doing, they have everything accounted.
Crystal clear who does
Crystal
what.
clear. Yep. This is what you do. This is your job. They're going to implement that. This is out of control. When you see these numbers right here, these numbers are out of control. This is the kids running the classroom right here. This is what this is right here. Kids
Marino on 130 grand. At
Deluded.
28, he's laughing, He's laughing.
You turn around, crayon going up one side of the wall, down the other one. This is what this is right here.
People running out the class and running back in.
He got Play-Doh all in his face. Play-Doh all in his face. Elmer's glue all on the floor. You got all this stuff going on. This is what this is right here. And people, and what has happened is the 2 years that we had of success of competing has masked all of this. Has masked it. I mean, it was just when you pull that rug back and look up under there. Oh my God! Look, man, we got to clean this up. And this is what this is right here. And this is why the man has been brought in because this should make it. A lot of people feel better about the whole thing is because if they really wanted to take the easy way out, Ato was sitting right there. Ato was there. The fella from Real Sociedad, Arteta man, was there. What did they do? They went and got what? The best available. He was available.
13 years in this game. His CV speaks for itself.
Yeah. He's got 7 trophies, and this is in the league.
2 champs finals.
Yeah. Real Madrid, Barcelona,
Which is not easy.
Bro, we're talking serious business here. He is coming in this door to get the job done. He's coming to get the job done. And I see what this brother here is saying.
Which one?
They don't care about trophies right here.
Okay, see, yeah.
But I'm telling you now, when you spend 750 million,
they care about the money, though.
They care about something. And yeah, I know the turnstile on Saturdays are filling up, people buying kits and jerseys and all that. But like I told, what did you see this weekend? I think either Palace. It was one of these teams in there that's American owned that's going to the Wembley, if I ain't mistaken. One
Can't
of
be
them
Nottingham Forest, can't be Palace, can't be City.
I think it might be Villa.
Villa American on? I'm not sure.
Somebody I heard somebody talking about it. They were talking about it over here this weekend about a couple of the teams or American owned going to the final. And I said, you don't think for a second that that Josh Kroenke and them ain't looking over that way? But these teams spent look, they only spent a handful of, and look at this. And then we up here with all this and can't win nothing. I'm telling you.
For me, they care about money, bro. And at the end of the day, there's not too much bang for our buck here.
No. I mean, somebody brought up earlier in the chat that Havertz deal is going to
shot us in the foot, bro.
One of the all-time worst deals at this football club.
Because if you're Saliba, Saka, Gabriel Magalhaes, you're saying, yo, listen, Kai's on X amount. I need to be on X amount. All these players that are coming in, they might not earn as much as Kai necessarily, but if they're going to be the top players and the difference makers, they're saying, yo, what's going on? You can't sell Gabriel Jesus for at least a year, and that's assuming we move him on if his form doesn't improve, which is probably next year. He's contracted until 2027. And Matt, this is also what I say as well, yeah, like it's all fun and games for me, you, to have faith in Berta, to sit here and say which players we'd move on and keep. But at the end of the day, yeah, when you've got mediocre players on big wages, you're reliant on them wanting to move. We could accept offers. They don't want to move. I don't agree with this, and I don't think Zinchenko's like this. But what's to say Zinchenko's not saying a couple of left backs are leaving? I'm on 150 grand. I've got a family here. I believe I can get my spot back. We need to move him on in theory more than he needs to move on from the football club. So it's all fun and games. You're not moving on Kai. You're not moving on Tommy. You're not moving on Jesus for at least a year. God knows how much calculated that is altogether. Obviously, you're going to have new contracts for the big 3 and the 2 young Highlanders and then everybody else. It is a mess. And for me, I can criticize the Kroenkes, but then I have to accept how they kind of govern and run their football club. And I can't say in the last 3 years, they're the sole reason as to why we haven't got over the line. And the one thing they care about is the money making sense in it. So if the money's not making sense, there is question marks. We know Partey's gone. Like, he's not going to sign a new deal. He's on like 200 odd grand. Zinni, we hope's gone. But on paper, it's Tini's 110. It's Partey's 200 odd. It's Jorginho's 110. I think that's where I think we've got into it. Since we've, in terms of the rebuild, Edu and Arteta, all right, cool. But as it's got to getting over the line, they fumbled. Arteta's identifying guys that are not moving the needle, and Edu is not negotiating well enough. You know, Sociedad are probably laughing for a year, man that had a year left on his deal. Mikel Moreno signed for 30 odd million on 130.
Yeah,
we need to clean this up, bro.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at this thing, I don't think people understand what's going to have to happen this summer. And I tell you what, dude, like you just said, what needs to happen, bro. I told somebody this last week. I was talking with a good friend of mine last week, bro. If soon as Kai Havertz is healthy, I'd get him out of here. I'd take the first thing coming out of Dodge. I put him up, I'd take half of what I paid for him, easily. Get him out of here.
Bite the bullet in it because of the wages.
Either that or he has to renegotiate his deal. He has to renegotiate something that's better for a lot of these guys gonna have to renegotiate their deals for what's better for the football club. If you want success, you want players for us to be able to for me to actually go out. I'm talking to Berta, for me to actually go out and get some players to come in here, bro. We're gonna have to have a discussion about these wages. He's gonna have to have a chart of what they're getting paid, how many games they played, all these numbers that we go through. He's gonna have the same numbers sitting on the desk when he come in. Hey, well, this is the output. You know, this is a contrast to whoever they're looking at bringing in. This is what this player, you know, because see, all that's got to be on the table now. All of that's got to be on the table, Deluded. They've got to
remember Timber's going to sign an improved term at some point, rightly so, because he's been doing the business.
Yeah, it's time for uncomfortable conversations with some
uncomfortable, man. Like, who's really earning their money? Like Kai, respectfully to him, not
took it right out of my mouth.
Who's really earning it for you there? Like Kai's not, Jesus ain't, Rice, we're at where we're at. I'll allow you. Odegaard, you've been rubbish this season, but I understand why you've got that. Partey's gone. Saka deserves a lot more. Saliba deserves a lot more. Martinelli, uncomfortable conversations. Look at that. You're on 180 grand. Zinchenko, we just spoke about him. Ben White, calm. Marino's laughing. Calafiori, it's probably because of his age, but right now, not earning your money. Tierney's gone. Probably, personally, I'd keep him because I think we need another left back. Jorginho's gone. Sterling's gone. Raya, calm. Tomiyasu, I like you, but you're not really earning your 100 grand. Gabriel Magalhaes, you need to get onto your agent immediately. You should be earning a lot more. Timber, you'll probably sign improved terms. I think we both expect Trossard to probably be moved on in the summer. Kivio's not earnings, nothing crazy, but he's moved on. Neto's irrelevant. The two Haylanders in Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly going to sign upgraded deals. It's not saying what Tavares and Lokonga's on. And it actually hasn't got Reece Nelson and Fabio Vieira. And I'm sure Reece Nelson's on like 100 grand as well. Which, if you look at half of these guys, bro, like they don't need to be moved on for them personally. Like Arsenal need to do something. To which I ask you, Matt, like, are we putting too much faith in Berta? Like, not to discredit what he's done, but as you know, one man can't change the whole culture in a matter of weeks or months. Like, are we looking at him as the Messiah for no reason, kind of?
What we have to look at is we're going to look at somebody who's going to come in and be efficient. Because when you look at Edu is not efficient.
Clearly not.
The numbers don't lie. So you look at this and you say, well, what does efficiency mean? Efficiency means that the club is being, and the players and the wage bill and everything is being ran to the point to where if, like this season, think about it, Deluded. In January was here. What was everybody screaming for? A player.
Striker.
When you look at these numbers, I mean, how you pulling this off?
Trust. And even when you look at it, we were offered Ollie Watkins, regardless of the injuries and us wanting a striker. He was thrown to us because of what Villa were doing with him and Duran and whatnot. We didn't actively go and seek him. So I want to know a clear strategy of what we're doing as a club. Clearly, as me and Matt have been waffling about for 24 minutes, we need to, tighten this up. I think we need to get the renewals done, and evidently we'll get onto it in a bit, but we need quality. There's a lot to do and not that much time. Bearing in mind, Edu left in November. My man's joined basically in March, but you could call it April. So I do wonder, like, how much business can he change in the summer? Because you would imagine, like, the groundwork has started to whoever we're signing. Is it a case of Berta is going to veto things, or is he just dotting I's and crossing T's? And maybe in next summer and the summer beyond that, we get to see what Berta's about rather than this year. Because as you said, he's coming in, fly on the wall, assessing the culture, seeing what he can do. Clearly, the first remit is probably outgoings. But where would you be with that?
I guarantee you they've had the discussion. He's seen these numbers. I'm
100.
sure if they interviewed him properly, He's had all access to everything that he needs to see. As a matter of fact, there was word that I saw last week or either over the weekend, might have been Friday, that he was already down at the training ground. So he's looking at this stuff. Now, how he goes about doing it remains to be seen. But I would think that, like I said, common sense. You just have to step back. I know a lot of people, it's kind of up in the air word or whatever. Like I say, step back 30,000 feet and look at every aspect of the situation. Why is he coming in now? Why was this done? Why was this done when it was done?
Because we stagnated.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, it's kids controlling the classroom and it's getting out of control.
I keep saying if it was just a job for the boys and it was the same old, Ato would have been the perfect man for Arteta because he could have told him what this is what I want to do. Okay, yeah, I mean,
Can bully him.
Yeah, he could have bullied, the socio dad fella. Yeah, come on in. Yeah, man. Because he got ties to these guys. He ain't got no ties to Berta. He ain't got not one time, and not one time in that whole process did Josh even bring up Arteta's name in that discussion. Not one time. Not one time. Now it would have been different if it was Edu, because Edu was here before Arteta got here. So it was a little different back then. But you would think that he would say, well, I'm looking forward to seeing how those two collaborate, work together. You didn't hear none of that. Didn't hear not one word about collaboration. Now, when back with Arteta, collaborate, we're gonna do this, it's a team this, and put everything, you're hearing the talking heads come out and saying, oh, it's not getting rid of Arteta. Because they gotta keep their job,
That's what I wanted to ask you, Matt. Yeah. How do you feel about that? Because as we know, it's quite predictable. Like Berta's announced, we're linked with Gyökeres. The Athletic come out with a think piece about how it's collaboration. How do you look at that? Because you alluded to it, like they're saved, like they got to save their jobs and whatnot. But do you really think it's a thing where sporting directors here, Arteta's there, or is it going to be a collaboration thing? And if it's going to be that, is it still like the position of power and that kind of stuff?
Watch this. It's a proven fact that a lot of these folk on social media was in with the football club.
100%.
It's a proven fact. We know this. This ain't something we, just do a search and look around on YouTube and Google images, and you'll see a lot of folk were in with the football club. That's 100%. Changing. That's changed. Access to the football club is starting to get cut off. So people are coming out with stuff to make we're doing this, they're doing this. In theory, nobody knows what's going on.
No one knows.
Nobody. They're running a tight ship over there. So all this Gyökeres talk. Now all of a sudden it's Gyökeres. Well, last week, who was it?
So Sethko and his agenda.
Yeah. You have folks in January, who was it? Zuba-Mendy. Zubi Doobie Doo. In January is what they were saying. Oh, 100%. He's coming in. Deal done.
Jason Ito's getting it done, really, and Berta will take control of it.
Yeah. They're looking at Ato. Ato is doing a great job. Is that not what was said? That was what was said, correct? Now you fast forward, and what do you see? Everything's upside down now. What did I tell y'all? I'll say it again right here. Don't be surprised if old Sesko come through the door. Or if somebody come completely out of left field. Because you can look at his track record and he'll find a player that might be on the fringes, might be a little long in the tooth, but still efficient. And he'll bring that player in.
Is that what we need to start doing? Because I don't understand our strategy. It's like we half kind of try and buy the established stars like Declan Rice. Then we half try and do the scouting thing. For me, I don't mind if you want to go for the established stars or you want to go for the emerging stars. My thing is just pivot. I think you'd agree, yeah. 9 times out of 10, like this whole striker thing will be linked with many a striker. Then it's all Sesko. It's all Gyökeres. If they sign, great. But if they don't, we tried. There's no players on the market, powder dry, which in theory, I agree with. If you can't find the player, don't buy one. But then we all know the other side of it. Who's coming off the bench? Who's helping us with injuries? Who's scoring the goals? We've seen this story. Like, where are you at with that?
I think for me, what I want to see a lot of is I want to see a lot of those moves, like when he got Suarez for Chuck, and when he was getting players like Rodri for nothing and then moving them on for top dollar. You know, I want to see efficient. You know, every once in a
Maximize the
while,
market, as they like to say.
yeah, you know, I would love to see every window we getting somebody to get you up out your seat, you know. But the reality
Naturally.
is that that's probably not going to happen. So the reality is that I want to see good signings so that when we get to January, February, and March, we're not having these discussions about, well, we was almost there. We should have, you know, we were close. You know,
If we
only if
just get
we had
this and
this.
that and it repeats
Yeah,
again and again, man.
yeah. I don't want to be having those discussions come January, February, and March. I mean, I'm tired of that. This is year 5, and we're having this. Oh man, if we'd had this, or if we'd had that, if this wouldn't have happened, if this player wouldn't have got hurt,
When
it's
are
just
we
like
gonna
this whole
deliver,
thing
man?
with Saka today.
We're watching the same movies and expecting a new ending. Who's watched the same movie either in the theater or on the TV and expected to see something different? You're an idiot if you think that.
I mean,
If nothing changes, nothing changes.
Once a week, I watch Beverly Hills Cop, and it still ain't changed.
Exactly. And you've been foolish if you thought it
Everything's
did.
still the way it was supposed to go. I watch Winter Soldier once a week, and every
See what
time I
I'm saying?
watch Winter Soldier, everything happens the same way.
Exactly.
My
I
man
watch
said
Boys in
the
the Hood
same-
all
hey,
the time.
he
I don't
said-
expect Ricky to not die. Like,
Hey, he said the same line at the end of the movie. You're going after him. So when are we leaving? Every time. Every single time.
see what I'm saying? But people like the chase, right? I think there's some fans that are very negative. I think there's more toxic positive. I think there's some that like to be glorious losers, like the ending of training day or Mighty Ducks. I always, people always sit here and say, oh, but what about the past, back-to-back eights? I hear that. Whether I'm critical of the manager or the club, cool, you've got us out of that. But that's irrelevant now. In the same way Teeny was once upon a time first name on the team sheet, you upgraded on him to kind of change things. So we can't keep looking back. You have to always build for the future. But I never get the vibe that our club wants to seize the present. Liverpool, I don't think it will be the case, but they could fall off a cliff. There's question marks about the whole club. They seized the future. I mean, the present 2024, 25, they've won the league. And a lot of people, including myself, we all had that rhetoric of, all right, cool. There's many things we could improve at. But prior to this season, City was superb. There was the talk of, you know what, if City ever fall off, we're the team to pounce. And going back to what Matt said earlier, when you have a market we had in the summer, you know the saying, you start as you mean to go on. I feel that's been the case this year because we haven't handled everything in the best possible way. Yeah, there's injuries and there's referee decisions. These are themes. Our football club saw what one injury could do in 2022-23 with Saliba. Last season, we was relatively injury-free. You still had Partey, Tomiyasu, key players, and Timber all out. So we should have taken heed of the previous years and equipped ourselves. There's a reality where if we had the squad depth and we improved the squad, which we'd all want, I think many fans like ourselves, if we still had the injuries and the season played out in the same way, we'd kind of say fair enough kind of thing, and we'll see what's going on. But we hung ourselves out to dry.
Deluded. Me and you both are at an age where we've seen. Matter of fact, that was the last thing we did. Like me and Aaron did last night. We was watching the 2009 to 2019 last night. I want to say it again.
See what they got us doing.
2019. We were just watching 2009 tape last night, and when you think about it and you see everything, they tell you, oh well, injuries cost us. Bro, how many times have we seen back in the day, Diaby, Eduardo, Ramsey. Saka with a broke leg.
Santi towards the end of his time started picking up knocks. Ozil had colds and whatnot.
We see all this stuff. Arteta was hurt when we won the FA Cup. By
the
way,
yeah.
He was hurt. Because they were looking at him side out, like, look at it. We win the cup. He comes out here and grabs
it. He comes, he holds it up and that.
First Jack out there. What you doing, man? You ain't played. He out there with blue jeans on, grabbing the trophy.
Doing the John Terry like when Chelsea won the first Champions League.
Yeah, and so when I hear these excuses about injuries, I tell people all the time, as somebody that's played before and somebody that's coached, injuries are a part of the game.
It's like a chef cutting their finger. It comes with the game.
That's part. Injuries is just like being a plumber getting wet by water. It's there.
If you get it, exactly.
It's there. So for me,
it's never going to be ideal conditions.
People are gonna have to step back and look at this for what it is. The man is here to clean it up, and he's gonna have to go about it the best way. Where we're in a situation where we're not like in a situation, as we are today. Somebody in the chat said something. Now I want to hit on this. And shout out to the brother. I think it was Aris. He said a lot of people would go, this whole Look at where we've come from. That needs to change. Next year, you know what needs to be said. When you hear that, when people say, well, look where he's brought us from, you need to say, well, look at where he's put us at.
Yeah.
That's what
for me, it's not even that. I'll do you one better, Matt. Where are we going? That's all I care about.
Yeah,
where we going?
Yeah.
Because you look at our team, yeah, as much as me and you are crying and moaning about the squad and all of this, yeah, in isolation, whether they're good enough for Arsenal Football Club is another thing. But very few of these players are bad. I've seen worse teams win a FA Cup, win a League Cup. Is this squad for the last 3 years or isolated to either year, are they really not good enough to get over the line? And if they're not, what's going on there? Really, we got good defenders, we got half decent attackers. We just need to build upon things. We got told that we want to compete, so we have to hold these things to high standards. When are we going to get over the line? Many Arsenal fans, and I'm sure you get on your YouTube channel, Matty, man, because I think when you don't do the overly negative thing, or you don't do the acting like everything's rosy, like you're in a room full of shit and you're pretending it smells like flowers, people will tell you you're negative. I don't feel you can have it best two ways. You can't say we're the best team in 2024. You can't say the manager's great and the players are great and not hold us to those standards of winning trophies. We're Arsenal. Of course, the long-term ambition is to be mentioned in the same realm as a Real Madrid or do what City have done in recent years, win all the time. But I don't think anybody is expecting us to win the Prem and the Champs every year. But in these last 5 years, really, we couldn't pick up more than one FA Cup. FA Cup record has been shambolic since we won it. Exactly. With the League Cup,
a thing like that. You
look at a culture.
Yeah, you look at this. That whole team for top to bottom. You tell me that team ain't good enough to win the Carabao Cup at least one in 5 years.
You see what I'm saying?
I mean, come on. These are the uncomfortable discussions that people are going to have to start having. We're at a point now where there should be silverware in the cabinet. And this goes back to the whole KSC winning trophies deal. They're looking at that right now and saying, why have we not had at least one? The Denver Nuggets, anybody watch back, the Denver Nuggets has an NBA championship. I thought for the life of me, I'd never see in my lifetime the Denver Nuggets win an NBA championship.
But he did.
But he did. Anybody that's American in the chat, put a 1 in the chat if you're American or you're over here in North America.
And smash the like button and subscribe as well.
Watch this, DG. Watch this. Anybody? I got some backup. Watch this now. They went out this summer, the Cronkies, and they reloaded the Rams. They went and got best available players and brought them to the Rams to compete. They ain't stupid. I keep telling you, they don't know football like most Europeans. So what have they done? They have went out,
put people in place.
I'm going to quote Josh, sporting knowledge, a sporting network, an insatiable desire to win, to help do what?
Win major.
And albeit to win what? Trophies.
And this ain't Matt's words. This is Matt paraphrasing what they said as well, holding them to their own words, you know.
This is what he said. This is why I said, after a while, that, you win a trophy, they may go a couple of years and say, you know what, man, we had a little bit of success and and then they let it go. But see, in those 10 years, what have we won in 10 years? We won the FA Cup in 10 years, right?
Yeah.
10 years ago, Wenger was here 10 years ago. What we went, so you start looking at that. It wasn't like, look at the
last. Him retaining FA Cup. Like Wenger was killed for a lot less than what we're praised for currently. If we're just keeping it 100.
So somebody sent me something yesterday. I don't know if I think it was Aaron. Aaron sent me somebody sent it to me yesterday. That if right now, game for game, he's at the same spot where we fired Unai Emery.
Probably, yeah.
So if they fire Unai Emery, if we see that, then they see it.
Because some people are in love with again, even when you speak about Arteta, like just because I feel for me, the question is, can you get over the line? I do think you're a good coach. I think there's questions with the management, but it's about getting over the line. I do think Mikel Arteta has an unnecessary cult following. I'm not speaking for fans that praise him, but talk about the negatives or those that are negative, but gives him his fair dues. You and me both see it. It's Arteta could shit in his hands and clap, and everyone would say that's amazing. And I think I think the club know he's got that cult kind of following, and I don't think that's right because you haven't done anything at this football club to have a cult-like following. If it was a Wenger thing, I'd understand it. Pep, Klopp, these kind of guys, I'd understand it. But what have you done? We're spoken about wanting to win trophies. The man himself says it. The captain himself says it. There's so many things, and people like to hide behind, oh, but the Cronkies are not backing him. And the one thing I would say to that is, yes, we can talk about the Cronkies and how they can change their image. But at the end of the day, they've broken their transfer record under this guy. Look how much has been spent in midfield. There's been times where other managers could have, would have, or should have been sacked. They hired the man with no CV, so they did back him. He's won every time there's a player that not everyone's agreeing on who wins prior to Berta and how this works out. It's Mikel Arteta. Edu powers were diminished, rightly or wrongly, for Mikel Arteta. So for me, with great power comes great responsibility. And now it's like we've planted the tree, we've watered the plants. Now in short, it's now time to see the fruits of our labor, and I'm not seeing it. Winners win and losers explain. Of course, there's reasons for why our league's derailed, but fundamentally it has. 2022, 23, 23, 24, and this year is bare explaining. Newcastle have won a trophy. City have won trophies. Liverpool have won trophies. There's nothing cemented in history, and we are getting to that point now. Obviously, the major carrot, as you know, Matt, when this started, is the Sakas, the Salibas, to go with Arteta and Edu. They're emerging talents. They're going to develop all together. Now they're coming to the other side of it, where they are established. Like Wenger said, at 23, 24, you know your job, right? Saliba's established as a promising centre-back. Saka's obviously a right winger. Now we need to show these players we're serious, because I'll be honest, I think the players have been sold a dream. I think, initially when we're fighting for the league and everything, that's making sense. But if I'm Saka, I'm saying, or all of these other players, hold on, why didn't we have a good summer? Why didn't we get a striker in January? It's not sustainable. It looks romantic. Marino up front, this one, that one. Anyone that knows football knows when you remove that romance, that's not getting you over a title. And I do think a section of our fan base, bro, are glorious losers. They're happy with the journey. The journey needs to have a destination, man.
If you don't believe players pay attention, we're gonna have a history lesson this afternoon. What did Ian Wright say when Dennis Bergkamp joined the football club? If you don't believe that players watch and get excited when they make signings, he said, "Oh man, if he could just get us to get us a Premier League medal, or I can get us to the Champions League." What? So if that 1995, so what has changed? Nothing. The players look at this just like the same way we do. They look at this shit. They look at the name. Could you imagine if this summer we bringing in a Gyökeres, Victor Osimhen, bro?
They're like, yeah, we're serious now.
Yeah, we got Pep. They got Pep in their step. They have a reason to believe. You tell them this summer Sesko coming in. Well, we just let's keep Havertz. Let's just play Kyle up top because he's the same. It's the same output. See,
this is what I'm saying. And by all means, you can get Sesko if you want, but bring me my Gyökeres. Bring me my guy for right now. If you want that development striker, do your thing with that. But I need a difference maker in that regards. And I do think, and I think about it like this year. If we cast our mind back to when Mikel Arteta took the job, in this 5-year period, obviously, people can talk about injuries and that, but let's just say you was pessimistic about Mikel Arteta. You didn't trust the Cronkies, and you were disillusioned with your football club. But if, regardless of that, if you were just a fan, you said, you know what, I believe that, I'm going to give you the benefit of that. I'm going to buy into it. At a point, you saw the crowd. It was jumpy, top 6 record. We started getting into some league title fights, and you're getting some reasons to be optimistic. Come this summer now, or where we are now, would it be fair to say that ultimately you've been sold a dream? Or would it be fair to say if you've bought into that, you're looking at the club and saying, okay, you've done okay, but how are we getting over the line? We're doing the same things and expecting something different. There's no way of shaping it. We're underperforming.
If you're a player, this is how, if I'm a player, this is how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it. 8 points, we miss out. Nobody really expected us to be challenging this year. We had a really good year. We're back in the Champions League. Okay. Next year you come back, man. We were right there. We just didn't take the final steps. You come back and have the season this year. In all intents and purposes, this season is worse than the 8-point year.
100% it is. We're not better defensively than we was last year or attacking in the year before that.
Not even close. Not even close.
Stagnation, regression, complacency.
Took it out of my mouth. I was getting ready to say. Now you're asking the question: are we going backwards? We're going backwards. We're going backwards. So if we're going backwards, what's going to be fixed? What's going to keep me here that's going to be fixed?
doing things different.
Yeah.
Like, if nothing changes, nothing changes.
Watch this, Deluded. And not only that, but see, next week when we play Real Madrid, the players are gonna have a good look at how far we are away from actually competing with teams like that. So they're going to be looking to say, well, if they've got this, then what do we have to combat this? Because or something similar. Because we're going to need to start using that as a measuring stick. Where are our players that can go toe to toe? Anybody want to get technical? We just seen with Atletico, they pushed them to the limits a couple of weeks ago. You know, we've seen how they've battled out. They've been able to do it. So what did they do? They built a team that was able to do it. Yeah, we haven't. Simeone hadn't won a title in a while. Yeah, I know, but he's competed. He's won that before. What you want to do is you want to be in and around and have the proper players that can get you in a situation to do what? Get you over the line.
And what did you say earlier, Matt? You mentioned Luis Suarez. Do you remember when? And this is where I like the Berta thing, because people are saying, Luis Suarez, he's finished. He's on the downwards trajectory now. Barca are right to get rid of him. They bought him shrewd addition. What did Atletico Madrid do? Not obviously, it's not just him, but they won the league. This is where we need someone that's a bit cute and clever.
Yeah, this is what there was a couple of people, chatting out. Like I said, I don't know if it could happen, but Harry Kane. Bayern Munich want to offload him? 40 million? Hell yeah.
Take the risk, man. Take the risk, bro.
Hey, bro, you take them 2-3 years and you get the best you can,
People say he's old.
Man, please. Go look at some of the strikers that we signed back in the day. And
you don't even need to go back in the day. How old was Aubameyang?
Yeah, yeah. He was 28. Yeah. Bro, you can get about 3 years out of a decent striker, easily. 3.5. If you treat him, if you care for him properly, you can get 3.5 out of him. Hell, anybody that watch it, and I know the league's a little bit lower, but you go look at old boy that played in France and went over to Tigres, Gignac. Gignac was like 27, 28. It was balling
Giroud's
out.
Still doing okay as well. Giroud as well.
Yeah, Giroud, Zlatan,
Ian Wright.
Ian Wright. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. To me, that's exactly what I was talking about when I made that comment. Wright was 28 years old when he came to the football club. We need to get this out of our head about somebody. Oh, he's washed. No, if a player is good, he's still gonna have that class. And you
remember when Van Persie? How old Van Persie was when he went over to them?
When he finally took off. Look how old he was. So these are the kind of signings that I expect. See, this is Deluded. I love chatting with you because I think about stuff I hadn't thought about. Look at this, Deluded. When we were signing players, see, he's signing folk like Willian.
Yeah, no one said the age thing there.
Yeah, he's signing folk like Willian. What, bro? You could tell me we couldn't go Diego Costa.
This is the thing.
Go out and go get somebody, that
but you're gaslighted for thinking differently, though.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. You Lewandowski, shout out to Dale. Right there, money in the bank. How many folks say he was washed up? Look at him this year.
And these men are not getting 280 grand. They're not getting that because they're smart enough to know, listen, I might get a longer contract, but I'm not getting this. Fair enough, we can do the age thing, and Kai's 20. And I'm not trying to make this about Kai because at the end of the day, he didn't buy himself or give himself this contract. But you can talk about longevity and a man's 25. You can also caveat that by saying if you've got a player that's in their early to mid 20s on big money with let's be honest, if Kai was available, nobody's going to be, fighting for him and whatnot. This is a problem.
Deluded, have you seen what Ed and Dzeko is doing this year?
This is what I'm saying. The OGs are still doing their thing. Like they're still out here, bro. Like,
hey, look at old Benzema.
See what I'm saying? There's still guys out here.
Got better with age. This is why I said some of these players, and I know Jorginho. Jorginho's been fair for what we bought him for, but I never was looking for Jorginho to be that man. That's the thing. I think a lot of our fan base thought he was going to be that man.
Nah, he was a squad filler. He's done okay.
Squad player. He was always going to be a player that just kind of I call him a locker room presence, more or less.
That's exactly.
He's never going to be the player that could just come take us to the next level. So in theory, that he's been all right, but I'm not for the lean on him. We need players that have been through the fire. We've actually seen them go through it, and then they come in.
Even Tony would have been perfect. So then we said, go on.
Tony would have been exactly what the doctor ordered. I think we're having a different discussion this year. We've won something this year with Alvin Tony and the team. Something. We won something.
Him and the left wing or something's better
Yeah,
because
we
even
won
if
something
they were
this
in the
year.
squad and Kai gets injured, Martinelli gets injured, Saka, you've got people that can share the burden. We don't have that. Credit to Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly for doing what they can, but it's criminal that really and truly, game in, game out, them two are two of the players we expect to do the job. Now it's testament to them, but it's damning on their teammates. And when I get beyond their teammates, at the end of the day, we've assembled this squad. It was 12 months ago. People were saying, "Oh, Arteta's developed the squad. We've got a good collective bunch." The vast majority of this team has been together for 3-4 years now. It doesn't surprise me that me, Matty, and you lot were having conversations about wages. We're asking questions of the manager. Certain players that were once first names on the team sheet, whether it's been through tactics, injuries, not doing the business, we need to upgrade upon them. This is why I think last summer was complacency, and then ultimately there's been regression. I think it's regression. Some people want to fight me and say stagnation. Cool. I think that's the same realm. This is why we're having these convos, man. What do you make of the Gyökeres thing? Because
I'm gonna say this, and then we'll go straight into this.
Go on, bro.
Because it's tied right in time, kind of tie in line with this. One thing that Arteta's gonna have to learn this summer. This year, I'm talking immediately. Within the next, we got about 4 weeks left in the season, 3-4 weeks, about 4-5 weeks left in the season. He's gonna have to learn this ASAP. In order for him to become a better manager, and in order for him to take a step in his career, he's going to have to learn. He's going to have to deal with big personalities.
Facts.
He's got to do that.
Because typically the best players got a chip on their shoulder, quote unquote. Did you see Thierry Henry the other day where he said, obviously Henry and Wenger got on quite a lot and whatnot, and you never want to see disrespect. But they clashed. Didn't you see when Henry said there was a Champions League game? Wenger was talking about we had more possession, we had this, we had that. Henry was saying to him, it says we lost 2-1 or 2-0 or something like that. I don't really care. You have to be able to deal with that because it's fun and games having the young, impressionable Saka, Saliba. They got a reason to toe the line, and obviously the backdrop of him trying to have the club in his image. But if we're going to get Arsenal to where we want to, where we get stars, or you're going to move on and go elsewhere, you're bang on the money. You're bang on the money, man.
I'll tell you a quick story. I talked to most folks know I'm a photographer, but I photographed a good buddy of mine that used to coach with me about 3-4 weeks ago, and we were reminiscing about when we were coaching in the championships and stuff. And it was funny because we talking about this because I mentioned we just got to talking about one of our players. We had a player named Bradley Mullers, great player, but he was a strong personality. And I told him, I said, y'all used to always wonder why I played Bradley all the time. And I told him, I said, I played Bradley because the other brother, his son was the other striker. I said, all the attention was on Bradley. But who was scoring the goals? I said, this is what that player does. I said, yeah, he's hard to he was hard to deal with at times.
But he's doing the job.
Doing the job. And that's what you got to realize, that sometimes you got to know how to deal with these players. It's a psychological thing.
You got to know how they tick. Some man tick differently.
Yeah. That's when you know your players, because you know the personality of all the players. You have to know what their strong points are, their weak points. You have to know this. This brother right here, there should be no excuse not to get this done over the summer.
Facts. He's got a release clause, so I don't know why we're developing strong interest. Like, you should have had this strong interest already.
Hey, that should have been developed. That should have been developed. That should have been cultured. That plant should have been watered. We should be a damn tree. It should be a damn tree right now.
There needs to be bids and medicals and fees agreed. Like this, and this is why I don't doubt it, because maybe Berta said, you know what, forget this Esco thing, forget Havertz up front. We need a big boy. Maybe he's changed it, but I also doubt it a bit, because really, what is any different? That should have been the case, because if Arsenal were scouting a striker, they should have known this. And also, kind of what you said earlier, in that Berta's been announced. We're now seeing, coincidentally, striker interest. It gets fans on side. It gets us a bit excited. It gains a bit of momentum and positivity going into Fulham, Everton, Real Madrid, and so on. It's like, is this really legit or is it not? I think we need him. But I don't know.
Watch this. This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt some folks' feelings. It's going to be a lot of folks going to watch this on the replay, and they're going to just slouch back in their chair when I say this. It's going this summer. I pray we get this guy. I want y'all to hit. I'm gonna preface this by saying I pray we get him. This is actually who I want. But don't be surprised if we don't get him. And why are you saying that, Matt? I'm saying that because we have wasted our time again in signing players that we knew we needed last summer. Now you've got a line of teams coming to the door for this gentleman.
Everybody needs strikers.
Bayern Munich, Barcelona. You know, who's
Still
to say
with Man United. I don't know if they can do it, but yeah.
Who's to say Real Madrid might just say, let's add another one to the team. Chelsea. You know, Newcastle might say, let's pair somebody with Isak.
Everyone's trying to talk to the pretty girl, man.
Yeah. Aston Villa might say, let's just, you know, Everton's got to put asses in the seat at the new stadium. They may say we want to go. We need a figurehead player. You've got a lot of Man United, you know, are going to be there. You know, they do making wholesale changes. They ain't going to tolerate that crap what they going through. You know, City might say, you know, yeah, well, let's bring in somebody. You know, they might start just buying players for the hell of it. You know, Atletico may look at this and say, you know,
he's linked with them.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go. We need another talisman because you know they like.
You mentioned Barcelona as well. Lewandowski's not getting any younger, as good as he is.
Yeah, it's so many teams out there that are going to be vying for this right here, and this right here is a classic example of how you let stuff get past you. You know, back in the day, we would actually bring the player here and they still get past us. Now you can go buy the player immediately and you still let the player get past you. Fact. So I'm hoping Berta, I'm praying Berta can come in, look at this, and you know what? Let's go ahead and trigger this because I told the guys this last night, and I said here the same thing is here as well, and I say it again later on today with the guys on the other thing with Jez and JB and all them.
Big up them.
Is any major transfer business that needs to get done this summer must get done within the first 3 weeks of the window being open.
Tell them again early. Especially someone like this guy. Now, I know there's a lot of moving parts, but
June 1st, this needs to be triggered immediately. Immediately. You need to be the first in line. Immediately. Because for too many years, one of my biggest gripes, we're going back to even Wenger.
It's a long, dragged out saga, man.
It's this dithering. A piece of a beard here, a piece of a beard there. Brother, if you want the player, get the player.
Get the player done. The penny pinching thing. Come on, man. Just get it done.
That's one of the. If you want to see one of my biggest gripes to be done with this sporting director is to stop this last minute bid, waiting to the 31st, waiting to the last second. You know, get our business done early. Players need to have time to come in and get used to players. That's how I knew we weren't signing anybody worth a damn over the summer because we'd already completed the tour. I told Lee, I said, Lee, we're not signing anybody worth a damn. He said, what make you say that, man? He said, they're moving out these players. Surely they're bringing somebody in. I said, Lee, if they were going bringing in a new player, he has to get used to his teammates.
And sell shirts on the preseason tour, man.
Yeah, exactly. You got to get shirts printed, all that stuff. You're going on a major tour. You're not bringing your marquee signing. He's like, man, you know, I hadn't thought about that. Well, I said, that's how I told him. I told him, I said, yeah, we get Raheem Sterling. He said, you serious? I said, yeah.
He spoke it into existence, man.
Yeah. I said, yeah. I said, he's attached to Arteta. It's on a loan move. I said, yeah.
They'll 2 feet out the door already anyways.
He's a name. I said, he's a name. So they're just chucking. He said, Rod, man, you crazy, man. You speaking. Watch what I tell you. Next day, Raheem Sterling.
And what did Edu say? We didn't plan on making that signing. When have you heard a manager, a sporting director ever say that? And they better damn well get Gyökeres or have someone else because Isaac could be my first choice. We all know financially.
Yeah, we all know that. Yeah, that's academic. See, that's another example of you mess around and you had him. He was there. He was in London. He was there. And you messed around.
Could have been?
You messed around and didn't get him. I was a fan of when he was over at Sociedad. He played with Odegaard. They were all playing together at one point. Zuberman, all of them. I think that was when they won a cup that year or whatever.
See what I'm saying?
So I knew who he was. I was like, yeah, we need to, look at this. I think at that time, I can't remember who it was at the time. Everybody was on their head about, but it wasn't Isak, it was somebody else. I can't remember the chat.
Never can. It's probably good that we didn't.
Yeah, whoever it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're glad we didn't get them because
because what problems would we be in now? And for me, I don't like. I like Sesko, but I think that's more of a developmental thing. I want Gyökeres, Isak's the dream. Make sure you get one of them. I don't want to hear powder dry. We failed the market because next season could get very ugly. I'm willing to say within the first 3 to 5 weeks if it doesn't go to plan.
That's
because,
it. You know what? That's exactly what I said.
That's
exactly what I said last night, Deluded. I said, I told Aaron, this was all fair. I told Aaron and the guy last night, I said, in HJ, I said, if we go into the season and it's the first 10 games, because see, we get one of these crazy schedules like we got this year. I said, bro, they might sack that man within 15 games next year. He won't get this league like he did. He's on borrowed time. The man is
months is vital.
Time. He knows it. He knows,
and he better perform like such.
Yeah, that's just why everybody's clamoring about bringing back Saka. Oh,
that's a good segment for us as well, man. Like Romano said, we're working on a new deal, but where is it? Mikel Arteta said Bukayo Saka is ready to go. Asked whether he could start. He said yes. Where are you at with that,
bro? I hope it work out.
I'm with you with that. I hope I'm wrong. There's no setbacks in that, but it could get dark. Very scared.
I pray for that young man's career, that he's healthy, that everything they're saying is true. I'm hoping he can come back. But
I'm
just
nervous.
like I told the guys last night, Deluded, I come with real facts. We were losing to Newcastle with him in the team. We were losing to teams with him in the team.
When we had our strongest 11, matter of fact, like him, Havertz, all them, man.
So it ain't just the fact that Saka, we still have got holes, the same holes that were in this team are still there with him.
Exactly, there's still problems.
But I think it's just the fact that we know that at least Saka can do something that's got the hope, everybody's hopes up. I hope he can come back and pick up the mantle and get it done.
We hope we're wrong, but I'm scared. I'm scared for the man. Yeah, if people always say, and I guess it's right. If he's gone through the test, if the physios have done whatever, who am I? I'm just an armchair expert. I hear that. But what I always say is, by that logic, a doctor's never been wrong. How many times have we seen in the news a doctor give someone a terminal illness, says they ain't got, as graphic as it is, they ain't got long to live, and they prove the doctor's wrong? How many times have doctors been wrong? And I also feel Saka might need saving from himself. We're playing Real Madrid. He wants to help the team.
Right there.
Is he fully fit or is he 99.9% fit? And if he gets injured, we're in issues, bro.
It's the desire for him to play, more than what his body can handle.
Exactly. He's not listening to it.
Yeah. Because me and you both have played Deluded. And we all know I've never had a hamstring tear. I've pulled one, but I've never had a tear.
Same, God forbid.
And like the pull was just enough.
So imagine tearing.
Imagine the pain from a tear. And
how thick is he?
The physical therapy. I'm gonna be straight up, man. People I know that have had this surgery, man. It takes them a full year to kind of get right back to where they.
And what also happens, Matt? You pick up little other knocks en route. When you have a long-term injury, you pick up other little things.
You start overcompensating. This leg has to compensate for that one. You're running. You still in the back of your head. You're wondering. When you pulling out of stuff, it happens. It's real talk. It happens. I've had a strained MCL.
See what I'm saying?
When I came back, I was, scared to put down a whole bunch of weight. I was scared to cut the way I used to cut. And I used to
wins as well.
My left leg. I used to strike with both of my legs. And then after that, I lost the ability to strike in my left. So it was just like, I lost a part of it. So I had to adjust. That took about a year and a half.
See what I'm saying?
These things happen. So for anybody who see this news today and think he's coming back and scoring 10 goals, you crazy.
We have to allow him to get back up to speed if he's able to get back up to speed, man. I like Matty said, I pray to God I'm wrong. He's fit. He comes back better than ever. You lot all comment on my YouTube video. Oh, what's he like? What was you talking about? I hope that's the case because I don't want the other side where this is where Saka gets a long-term injury. You look at Michael Owen, and then he's known for this. I don't want him to lose his acceleration. I don't want him to lose anything. If that is the case, it's gross negligence on everyone connected to Arsenal Football Club.
Thomas Rosicky. Thomas Rosicky.
See what I'm saying? You don't want him to end up like them, man.
He was Thomas Rosicky was cooking. He got those them hamstring injuries and them pulls and that tear. Never was the same player. Never was the same player.
Never going to be the same.
So I hope that Saka comes back. See, this manager's he's going to have to not be. I know you've seen that meme with a cow where Arteta milks the cow. He can't do that. This go around with Saka.
Him, Martinelli, Kai Havertz, Ben White, they've been running to the ground the last few years, to be honest.
That's where hamstring injury. That's where all the injuries come from. Is some of these dudes that played for 3 years straight.
For club and country.
Country, yeah, exactly. Club and country. I was just getting ready to say. In country. They're looking like how these players, their bodies on the inside are looking like how this player's face, this manager's face look right there. That's how they're looking. This
absolutely ran into the ground, bro.
He's run these players into the ground.
He's ready to go. He really wants it. He's ready. I just wonder if we need to save the player from itself. Like you look at Saliba in 2022-23.
He asked me last week, well, what would you do? I told him, I said, man, if it was me and I had to play him, he'd be playing. I'd have to see how this go. And I said, if we're at the Bernabeu, they're only up on 1-0 on aggregate. Maybe 10 minutes left, 15 minutes left in the game.
This is what I'm saying. Kind of stuff, 20 max.
Let's run him out. Run him out and see what happens. Anybody who hadn't read the press conference, Arteta's reading the press conference like he's starting tomorrow. Like he's ready to start. That's how I read it. I'm like, this brother talking like, go back to Ethan. Go back to Ethan. I'm gonna bring that up too. Here's another example of where have we seen this at? Players in good form, players cooking. We saw it with Trossard. Trossard was doing great. What happened? Jesus came back, took him out. Has Trossard ever regained that form that he was in?
Even this is very different, and Tommy's got his own issues of his own. But Tomiyasu came back within 6 minutes. He's been missed. He's only played 6 minutes of Premier League football, and then he's been missing. And even against Fulham, again, I would love to know everything in relation to the current status of Saka. But for me, if you are going to be in the matchday squad, honestly, I still wouldn't play you. I'd let you train for a couple of days. I know he's been in training during the international period. Everton is where I look to give you your 10, 15 minutes. You still be on the bench against Real Madrid, and naturally, on the best of days, this man gets kicked all over the pitch. If you're Real Madrid, rightly or wrongly, what are you going to do? Saka, even if Saka was fully fit, he's a marked man in this Arsenal squad.
You know what I said last night, Deluded? I said this too last night. I'm going to say two things here. No, I'll say this first. First thing is this. I know he's played in 1 or 2 friendlies behind closed doors, but when you're coming back from an injury like that, I expect to see him in the under 21.
We're playing tonight as well. He's not going to be playing.
You know what I'm saying? I'm expecting to see him at least go 90 minutes in the under 21. Hadn't done it. Okay. All right. Cool. All right. Let's move on from that. Then you go to you look at the I'm getting old, man. I forgot. Damn, I just went blank. I done went blank. Shit. But no, I just say this. For me, if he comes back and gets injured, I'm just gonna sit back and just say, you know what? It is what it is.
I'm with you with that. What's the point of getting angry?
Yeah, it's no need to getting upset. It is what it is. Because if he comes back and he's out for a year, then we all know why. We all know why. You have to have good man management, man. This is why you need a squad, bro.
Come on.
Yeah, this is I told Norsky this before I went on this morning. Me and Norsky was chatting. I told Norsky, I said, you don't think the sporting director's watching this?
He needs to be.
Yeah, he's definitely watching this. This is an asset to the club. This is the crown jewel of our football club right here.
He's got to be the highest shirt seller at the club. He's the poster boy. He's everything on and off the field.
He's the man. He is Mr. Arsenal right now. He's Mr. Arsenal. Unless we go out and sign some world-class player. Right now, he's Mr. Arsenal. And he is everything that this club is hanging his hopes on. And if he goes down for a year or never regains the form,
We're in trouble.
Arteta be gone. Arteta be gone. I'm to be honest with you. Arteta be gone, and he'll have to pay the prices for that.
Someone's got to answer for it, man.
Look at the hell that they're brazen over there at Bayern Munich over Alphonso Davies this past week.
Yeah. They're all thingy. They're suing Canada and whatnot.
Look at that whole situation, and that comes from running players into the ground. Alphonso Davies been ran into the ground. That's what happens when you're.
And player welfare is not getting any better for these players for club and country. And you see the tournaments. You got the Club World Cup coming. We've had a World Cup in the Euros recently. Got a World Cup next year. You know, I do agree with one thing with Arteta that the best players are going to play 50 or so games. But there has been times to rest Saka, and I just feel we've been owed this, as cruel as it is, because with the amount of games played with Saka, with Benjamin White, with a lot of these players, we were even Kai Havertz and Martinelli, we were owed this maybe last season or seasons where it applies. We were owed this really, and it's gross negligence not to have enough depth. Praise the Lord that Wanyeri has not only been in the squad but taken his chance. Same for Lewis Kelly.
I was going to say this. I was going to say the fact that everybody's clamoring for Saka to come back into this squad shows you how short we are. Because if we actually had players that were worth a damn, you wouldn't even be asking for them. You know, nobody's clamoring for Jesus to come back. Nobody's keeping up with his how many days. You know, I actually seen one joke online counting the days. He's I counted back this many days. Yeah, he's on point. It's time for him to come back. I mean,
we wish him the best, but no one ain't watching that.
Hey man, I hope Saka comes back, and I hope he's in decent form. But realistically, because I've watched enough football over the last 30 years, I know what's about to happen.
And I wish you was wrong. I hope we're wrong. Yeah,
like I hope I'm wrong as hell. I hope I'm
exactly.
wrong.
Even to this comment.
Yeah.
Like, I hope to be wrong. I'm sure they won't be careless. I want to be wrong. I want to look back and say, you know what, I was exaggerating and whatnot. But what we can't do is bury our head in the sand and just think, oh, because he's been signed off fit, that there's no potential concerns.
Jalen is 100% correct in this right here. This is the crown jewel of the football club. Bro, I mean, honestly, it's like I said this the other day. And I said this, me and Eric talked about this last night. People are going on about this Real Madrid game like it's the final. This is the quarterfinal.
Two-legged tie, man.
So what happens if we play? Watch this Deluded. I'm gonna drop one. Go ahead, put your hands up here, because I'm gonna drop it on you. Put get ready. Here it come. So what if we play this man in both of these games? He goes back down. We get to the semifinal. What we gonna do then?
Fuck, you know. Fuck. boy, we're fucked. We're actually fucked.
So I told Lee this. I said,
just play Wanyeri, man.
If it was me, Wanyeri plays. And if we got to the final, I would probably say, you know what? It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Now you start to take
Now
risks.
you start to go, you know what? Yeah, I give him a shot. And if I don't see anything in 30 or 40 minutes, I'm yanking him. I'm going back. You know, I'm going to be ruthless. You know,
we just have to hope God's with Bukayo Saka, man. Like, that's the only thing, that will kind of calm me down away from my obvious concerns, in that whenever there's adversity, this young man just somehow gets over it. That's the only thing. But he's human.
Aaron's in the chat. Aaron said it last
Aaron.
Yeah, he said, Matt, the only thing I could think of is when we play Real Madrid is that Ethan is probably the only person that can get something out of that game. I actually believe Ethan would probably be the one that would. That's why and I agree 100%. That's why I believe if we get past Real Madrid, he would be the one to do it. I know that's crazy, a 17-year-old to say that, but he would probably be the one that could make, because there will be chances. There will be chances on both sides when we play Real Madrid. There are chances that Real Madrid, they're sloppy at times, and we're sloppy at times. So there will be opportunities to score.
They're a team you got to kill, though. You got to kill them.
Yeah, you got to kill them all.
Kill them.
I think personally, I would rest Saka. I wouldn't even attempt it. I would try to see where we are first. Because if they go up 2-0 the first time, it's over. You can just about We
At
already
that
know.
point, we need to make it 2-1 and just go to the Bernabeu with something to play for. But the next goal is crucial. Even if we were to take a 2-0 lead from the first leg going there, I'd obviously be happy and be, it's a good little platform. But then stepping to the Bernabeu is a different entity. You're going to be playing the mentality monsters. Psychologically, these players have played there for the first time. And what if it's 2-0 to us? And it becomes 2-1 to Real Madrid. I need to know that we can handle that psychologically. And I look at Porto away last year. I look at Bayern Munich. I still think there's a lot of uncharted territory for us in the Premier League. Like me and you have spoken about it before. For me, I know there's been teams that have won Champions Leagues before they dominated in the Prem, but I think we need to pick up a Premier League trophy or two, start dominating the FA and League Cups, getting ourselves to a big platform, a bit like how City did it. Then you can start trying to bully the European nations. I just think the Champions League is a big ball game, but I want to see us equip ourselves against Real Madrid. I don't want us to feel sorry for ourselves and just bend over back, because we need to try. Like, we need to have a fearless approach. Like, at least make it difficult. If Vinicius skims past the whole team, fair enough, but don't make it easy.
This is the other thing too. I was going to say, if this is the other that slipped my mind. If the man has to play him, I'm going to go to the other side. I'll go to the other side. If he just has to play him, I'm playing him through the middle, and I'm saying stay up top. Don't even worry about running back. Just stay up.
I hear that.
Because the manager's going to want him to run back and forth.
He's putting in a defensive shift.
Yeah, he wants to come play. So if the manager has to play him through the middle and just sit him up top, so he doesn't, put any stress on you. You might luck up and find something if you put him up there and it work out.
Do you think Odegaard's form is going to change now that Saka's back? That's the rhetoric around some of our fans.
That's what everybody was saying. But like I said before, Saka was in the team, and they were still putting in stinkers.
We still couldn't break down low blocks.
Before we go, because I know you're gonna probably wrap up in a little bit here. Look. Let me see it.
Go on.
We need to have a real honest discussion about Odegaard this summer.
Start it, man. I love Odegaard, but I love my football team more. You're not doing the business, bro.
Yeah,
You're not.
We need to have a serious discussion. We watched 2009. We watched Cesc Fabregas last night, and there was several times I said, look at Fabregas. I said, that's what Odegaard's supposed to be doing. I said, right there. I would just say, right there. Look at this shot right there. Pass right there. Shot. He's been in the team for 4 or 5 years.
I love him, but he plays within himself, man, far too much.
He plays like he's fragile. And he's a grown man. He's a grown man in football. He's been around the block long enough. What is he?
One of the most experienced kind of young players in our squad, if I'm honest, or of this squad, essentially.
26, 25,
24, 25. Like, he's been about. Like, Wonder guard tag and all of that.
As a midfielder, that's supposed to be your prime year. 25. You're supposed to be 25 is your prime year as a midfielder. Especially
I need you to step up, Odegaard, man.
You're supposed to be going from here you're supposed to be up there. You look at Verts. You're supposed to be making them, this season has been an absolute shambles. I told people when he scored all them goals, I said, man, you won't see that again. That was the style of play was different even then when we played. We were attacking team. We were going head on. Look at it now. He's another one that when we go to Real Madrid.
He's a press machine now.
When we go to the Bernabeu, when we play Real Madrid, will he be able to step up?
He needs to, because you're the captain. You're not by yourself, but you're the captain. That's you as your old that's you against your old club. I need you to step up. Like, I need everybody, but I need you to step up. If I'm honest, I know, and again, people can make mistakes, things can happen. I know what Rayo's going to do. I have faith in Timber. I have faith in Lewis Skelly. I've got faith in Gabriel Magalhaes. I've got faith in a lot of our defensive ranks. I know Rice is going to do something. I know Wanyeri is. It's the others. What party is going to turn up?
Is Trossard going to score?
Is Trossard going to be at? Martinelli, you're going to put yourself around, but are you going to play well?
Marino,
yeah, you're playing up front, so I allow you a bit, but are you going to do this thing? I don't know.
Yeah, it's the set piece coach. See, a lot
they got 9-foot Courtois. Our set piece things.
We went back and watched the Chelsea game, the recent Chelsea game. I know folks gonna be like, you back and watch that? Yeah, we watched the Chelsea game.
Yeah, I don't know why you done that to yourself, man.
Well, we did. I did that because I wanted to illustrate something that Aaron last night, and so we were watching it, and I said, I want to point out a few highlight areas. So we fast forward, through the game or whatever. But we went to the goal that Marino scored. I said, look at the goalkeeper And when I showed it to him, he said, "Man, I hadn't thought about it from that perspective." I said, "Look at the position of Chelsea's goalkeeper on the goal that went in.
It's terrible."
I said, "You think Thibaut Courtois is gonna be doing that?"
The dark arts thing is not going to bang because they do the dark arts thing better than us. We're going to have to find something different.
Rudiger is sitting right over there. Rudiger is one of the masters of the dark arts.
And you know what he's going to do? He's going to be pulling ears, whispering, doing all sorts of madness.
You know, all kind of stuff. Dennis Rodman material. He's going to be
exactly as you should be.
Just stepping on feet, you know, just aggravating people. And then you look at the opportunities there. We went through that Chelsea game. Chelsea had, I think, 2 shots off the post or something like that. I said, and then there were breakaways. And there's one thing I know. I guarantee you. I went all the way back because I wanted to prove a point to Aaron last night. I said, I'm going to show you some stuff. I went all the way back to preseason. And I went back to the Liverpool game. I said, I want you to watch this. Watch when I have to say Suarez, when Salah scored. Goalkeeper brings the ball down, rolls the ball out. Bang, 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 goal. I said, that was going on in the summer. Then I took him to the Aston Villa game. I said, the first Aston Villa game. I said, look at this right here. 1, 2, 3 passes through the middle and on goal. I said, I told him, I said, what am I trying to show you? I'm trying to show you that the same problems that we've had from the preseason through the season up until today are still
prevalent, man.
One ball over the top, one ball down the flank, one ball through the middle. We're going against a team deluded. We're going against a team where if Mbappe gets 3 chances on goal, 1 is going in.
And we don't know if we're going to take odds.
Unless he's having a bad day. If Vinicius gets 3 chances on goal, 1 is
and that's before you talk about the Diaz's and all them kind of ones.
I ain't even got the Rodrigo.
Yeah, Rodrigo as well.
And Jude. I ain't even got to them. This is what I'm saying. The margin of error in this game.
Fine margins that our manager talks about.
Yeah. This is it. That you cannot, the mistakes that you made when we played PSV that first game, and that brother missed that goal.
Real Madrid not missing that.
And after that, the avalanche hit. They're going to score that. They're going to score these chances. So it's like Brother Aaron said that night. Balls got to go. We got to hope that there's balls sailing over the top. He's offside by a foot. He's off by, you know. We get luck up on VAR. We get a pull down or something in the box, you know, something to put a little pressure on. We got corner kick, it's a gaff here and there. You know, we got to hope that we get some form of a mistake. But if we make the mistakes, Deluded,
we're in trouble.
This tie will be over with real quick.
I need my my defenders normally bail us out in both ends, but I need my strikers too. I think anyone that thinks we're going to shut up shop and Real Madrid are not going to ask us questions over 90 minutes, let alone 180, is extremely naive. Now, people can sit there and say Real Madrid are not in the best of form and that. When you've seen them win the champs, they actually haven't been the best team in half of the knockout stages. Exactly, but they found a way. They can press, they can sit off. Carlo Ancelotti can tweak little things, play people on paper where it looks like they're out wide. Obviously, there's the psychological factor. For them, this is just another game, and they're going to give us our respect. For us, this is the manager's first time playing Real Madrid and going over there. So it's a tough game.
You know, you sum that up, brother. You say you get what you pay for. That's a classic example of when you get what you pay for. If you got a team like that you know I mean, they've been fragile most of this year, last year. Year before that, not what we grew up watching is the Real Madrid. You know, this ain't the Galacticos. You know, then you watch this team here, and it's like, you look at them, you say, they can be beat. But then you get out there on the pitch and you realize it's like playing the Lakers and they get best of 7.
Exactly, psychological factors.
It's like playing the Yankees. You know, it's like playing the Chiefs. You know.
All we can do is give ourselves a good account of ourselves. Our issues are not helped. You know, defensively, we're going to have to do a lot. But what I would say, I want to see this game, as silly as it sounds, like I want to see everyone do a bit more. Like I'm exaggerating, but you might be Declan Rice. Clearly, your job is not to score goals. But if you have a chance, take it. Odegaard, run the show. If a centre back has an opportunity, take it. I need to see you lot do your job to the best of ability, but everybody needs to give me an extra 5%, especially at the Bernabeu. And because I see that with Real Madrid, I saw that with our run to the 2006 final. People were doing a bit more than they needed. Everybody can't play within themselves.
I'm glad you brought that up, Deluded. I'm glad you brought it up because see, people, we saw it. 2005, we saw it. That was prime. That was Galacticos, by the way. That was the creme de la creme of world football. And all we needed was a striker who took it on his back. One of the greatest runs. That's actually one of the greatest goals.
Big up a teenage Cesc Fabregas assisting him as well. Makeshift back five.
Yeah, that I to this day I say it's one of the greatest Arsenal goals that I've seen. Is that run because
of the context.
Yeah, he was moving past players. He had to fight people off, and he put that one chance he had in the back of the net.
And nobody gave us a chance, but I just feel we're not the same as we was then in terms of, like, I don't want to be outdated, and I'm not dissing our current players now, but they were men. I don't want to sound like I'm outdated, but they were men. Like, football was a lot more how it's supposed to be kind of thing. I don't think that's the case.
People forget this too. People forget this part.
They love to forget it, bro.
We beat Real Madrid, but who do we have to play in the semifinal? And how do we get out of that mess, by the way? How do we get out of that mess? The goalkeeper saved us.
And that's what I mean. You need a bit of percentages from everybody, even when we went to the final. So Campbell scored, obviously didn't go how we wanted.
This is why
everyone's gonna have to stand up.
This is why I tell our fans, our modern fans, to reel it in, because I know how hard it is to get to a Champions League final. It's hard. It's hard. Sometimes you need a stroke of luck. Knocking on the door.
You need to earn your luck, because we earn our luck. That's why we're getting penalties saved and all of those kind of things. You need to earn your luck.
Yep. And so it's gonna be tough, man. But is there a chance to beat Real Madrid? I say it's a 15-20% chance. But I want people to understand that when whatever happens after this, I want people to look at that team and look at our team. And then when you look at the money spent, you need to be asking yourself, why don't we have a team like that? Why don't we have a team that, we should be in and around the semifinal or close to it every season? We should be competing.
People will tell you it's Real Madrid, which is true on one hand. But when you look at it, you look at the recruitment. They tried to spend big money on Mbappe. Cool, they didn't get Mbappe. They showed an ability to wait. And the same logic with Trent. You look at the Tchouaménis, the Camavingas, they were big fees, but they kind of outsmarted the market and found them emerging talents quick time. Same with Jude Bellingham. Everybody could have attained these players, give or take. Yes, Real Madrid, they did half the job is done selling them, but they did well. People got to remember, it didn't just hit off of Vinicius Jr. straight away. He struggled, but they did their due diligence, found the emerging talents from Brazil, and they're buying a lot of them. And so it's all come to a head. Like they are the pinnacle, but we might not be able to be Real Madrid. What we can do is show some competency, show some consistency, and show some confidence across all aspects of this football club, which we haven't been doing. Like Matt said, like, we don't get her overnight, like we don't have this playing squad overnight. We need to make big decisions. The Champions League, it is what it is. We hope for the best. We hope the footballing gods can shine on us. But
because once that's over, once that Champions League is over with, we back to the league. We back to domestic success. We're back to having a discussion again about domestic success. And that's what a lot of the fan bases want to realize once that whole thing is over with. Because I don't see us winning the Champions League this year. We just don't have enough.
I don't, but I hope I'm wrong.
That's why I'm so mad. That's why I'm so upset about this season. Is because if we'd had the players that we needed, think about it. Look how many times we've been in and around some form of a trophy, Carabao Cup. Okay,
that close, but also that far. Like.
Yeah, and then this is what I'm saying. Then Premier League this year. I mean, if we'd had some decent players, there's no reason we should be this far behind Liverpool. With City having a down year, 13, 14, 15
points. It's unacceptable.
It's so realistically, this is why I tell folks, we know realistically, City ain't gonna be this destitute next year. They're not gonna be this bad next year.
Pep's hitting back, man.
United's not gonna be this bad next year. Chelsea, all they gotta do is solve the goalkeeping problem. They got Mr. Magoo as the goalkeeper. So I mean, Newcastle getting it together. like I told you,
It's only getting more and more competitive. We can't rest on our laurels, man, because in these last 3 years, we could have achieved something special, whether that's a League Cup, an FA Cup, and a Premier League, just one Premier League in the 3 years. I'm exaggerating a bit, but you could argue potentially we could have not only won a league, but retained it. Unfortunately, it's all coulda, woulda, shoulda, and it feels like we've wasted a golden opportunity. And next season, this can't be the case. It can't be the case.
That's what concerns me the most. You look at West Ham. Look at what Potter's done, went in there and done. In the less than a couple of months. Look at Palace.
Newcastle are coming about as well.
Crystal Palace. Look at Crystal Palace from where they were.
Look at Nottingham Forest out at Wembley now.
Yeah, I think they're at least second or third in the form table. Look at what's going on. Teams are getting it in order. This is why we go back to Berta. This is why they broke the glass. It's in case of emergency. Break glass, get Berta. They went and got Berta.
Because City were complacent. Now they've, like you said, the glass is broke. They're back. You saw the January they had. You saw what they're going to do in the summer. I'm not asking Arsenal to necessarily do that, but there's evident areas in our football club that haven't been addressed for years. We've kicked up a can of a problem up the road, and it's come to a head now. There's only so much times you can ignore paying the bill before the bailiffs are at your door, and that is actually what's going on now. We need to do everything now. The gloves have to be off. There's uncomfortable conversations for the majority of the playing squad, the manager, and actually, bro, I like what you're doing. I like what you could do. Only time will tell if you are the guy for Arsenal. But we need to get our act together. We cannot have a summer like we had last year. And if we do, any sort of fan that cuts the luxury of, I know I was angry and said a lot of what I'm saying this summer, last summer, but I'll give you a chance, it's going to turn dark very quickly. Yeah. Ultimately, this is a big football club with big expectations, and you've got to adhere to it because we're that close. Like, we've actually got a decent little thing now, but we're shooting ourselves and we're not seizing the present.
Yep, and that's why I think this whole thing with Berta, I think that's what he was brought in for. It's like, it's just we've got to start trying to get over the line. And if we can't, and somebody asked the question earlier, if he didn't win anything, do I think he should quit? I'd say, personally, I think he should. If you want my honest opinion, I'd say you need to leave this year, so that way the man can bring in somebody worth a damn, and get over the line. But we all know he's coming back next year, so I think next year is going to be the year that all this is finally going to be put to an end. Either he's going to get the job done, we're going to win something, and he's going to finally take the next step in his career, or he's going to come in, repeat as tight. Players are going to start getting upset, and fans are going to start getting on him. Some of these top Gooners are going to finally start to look and see what we've been saying for the last 3, 4, 5 years about this manager and his inability to get over the line,
bro. Yeah, that's the only thing with me with Arteta. I think you're a good manager, but you need to get over the line, bro. Until you get over the line.
I told the guys last night. I said, I'll be straight up with you. If he had put 2 years in the hole somewhere, like at Rangers or somewhere, and got some experience, and then they said, well, let's bring in Arteta, I would be more for it. I said, but he had no experience, so it was always going to be hard for him.
Look at Arne Slot, been managing 2 more years longer than Arteta, winning a league in his first in a transitional period for Liverpool. Now, I know the situations are white and black, but you have to wonder how much transferable experience in whatever situations Arne Slot faced at Liverpool have helped him now. And what I don't want to happen is Arteta learns what he needs to learn, goes elsewhere and succeeds. I wish him all the best if that's the case. I do think you're a good coach, but I only care about you doing it at Arsenal, and it's an over-the-line thing. I don't like this whole Arteta to the end thing. It's earned, bro. People are not going to like... If Saka has seasons of underperforming, man, on him. Everybody loved Martinelli 2022, 23. In fact, either before that. But once he had that season, has been struggling, people are on him. Arteta, are you the guy to get us over the line? Or are you the guy that's helped fix everything and somebody else comes in? I don't see enough to back Arteta blindlessly. Yeah, we need to get over the line. And that goes for everybody at this football club. Like, over the line business now.
We're at that stage now. This is year 6. It's year 6. Deluded. You're almost into the next decade of being here.
Exactly.
And so
one of the longest serving managers in the Premier League and highest paid.
He's been one of the longest serving Arsenal managers in recent history.
See what I'm saying?
And so by that right, he's got to produce.
You've got to get over the line, bro.
This is Arsenal. That's why I keep telling people. I was like, people got to understand it. We're one of the biggest clubs in the world.
And he's not doing us a favor.
Yeah, so he's got to get it done. And just going to the quarters against Real Madrid. That ain't enough. It's time for us to move to the next level. And I don't know if we're coming to the close of a window, to the start of another. I know some people are saying, well, it's some talk with Berta coming in. Are we resetting phases? No, this is Berta's first phase, but this is Arteta's final phase. This is Berta's first phase, but this is Arteta's final phase. We're not.
Yeah, need to get over the line, man.
Yeah, we're not doing it. We're not gonna sit up here and deal with this because I don't trust this manager with another rebuild, and we're getting ready for another rebuild.
Nah, we ain't got time for that, man. We ain't got time for that, bro.
We're on the cusp of another rebuild, and I don't trust this manager.
Any rebuild that needs to take place beyond next season, because he's gonna be here, it needs to be done without Mikel Arteta, man. Matty, this has been amazing, man. I've had you here early in the morning, man. So I'm gonna end it here, let you get on with your day, man. Let people know they can find you, man. We need to get this going next week, man. It's always a pleasure to speak with Arsenal fans who mean what they say and say what they mean, man.
Southern Gooner here on YouTube. Deluded, always enjoy it, brother. Enjoy it.
Come on, okay.
I'll be on today with Lee, Jez, and Kenny. We'll be on for the Real Talk podcast today, either at 5 or 6. So y'all kind of be on.
What platform is that on?
Over on Lee Gunner. And I'm sure we're going to talk about Berta, and we'll be talking about soccer as well. So y'all get ready, man. Thoroughly enjoyed it this afternoon.
Come on, my guy, man. I enjoyed it as well. I don't know why, but it's always nice to speak about Arsenal. I wouldn't say our conversation changes anything at Arsenal, but I feel a bit different about our football club, man. It's nice to have intellectual conversations and consider all the variables. Make sure you're following Southern Gooner. Make sure you're following Lee and all the boys, man. Make sure you're following Aaron Talks Arsenal. I see him in the chat. Matty, I'm going to chat to you. We'll get this done next week again, man. Peace, my dude. Blessed for that, man.
Cheers.
Come on, my guy. Peace.